class, today we are going to learn how to translate a polygon in its coordinate plane. But before we do, let's go ahead and learn what we discussed in yesterday's lecture. Now in yesterday's lecture we discussed what class? Great job! We discussed transformation. Now what do we know about transformation? We know that there are 3 transformations that we need to know this week. Our first one is called translation or slide. We are going to get our polygon, and here's our y-axis and here's our x-axis. We are going to slide it to a different axis, just as so. Let's move on to our second one. Our second one is called rotation. What does that mean? What does rotate mean? Good job. It is to rotate at a certain point. For example, our point down here is D. We are going to rotate it all the way around it. Just as, here's our point, just as so. That is called rotation. Now our last transformation that we're going to learn about is reflection. That is a mirror image or a flip. Obviously, a flip is to go to its opposite direction. Here's our y-axis, here's our polygon. We are going to flip it or reflect it, have its mirror image. It can go either way. It can go horizontal as well, our x-axis. Here's our polygon, and we are going to reflect it or mirror it or flip it to its opposite. Now, what new word did we learn about yesterday that these 3 fall under? Does anybody recall the word isometry? It should ring a bell. It should be in y'all's little brain. And isometry means that this figure right here cannot change its size nor shape. It has to be consistent throughout its change. Sorry about that. I got tongue twisted. So an isometry, repeat after me, cannot change its shape nor size. It has to be what? Great. Consistent throughout its movement. So here's our very brief discussion what we learned about yesterday, transformations. Now out of these transformations, today we are going to learn about the first one, which is translation. And what is translation again? To slide it to its different coordinate. Here's our second slide. Here is a coordinate plane. Let's recall what a coordinate plane. It consists of a y-axis, like I showed you, vertical line, and an x-axis, which is a horizontal line. It has to have that to be a coordinate plane. Now, we have our first example. Right here, we have a square. Let's label our square before we do anything. That's going to be our first step to label it. Our first point can be A, our second point B, right down here C, and our fourth one is D. But wait, before we go any further, class, let's go ahead and discuss what each section of our coordinate plane stands for. We discussed this a while back, so let's go over it together as a class. This section right here is called coordinate 1. Right next to it is called coordinate 2. Going down is coordinate 3. And going right across from that is coordinate 4. That's what our sections stand for. Now let's go ahead and go into our first problem. Let's do our first example. It says, move square ABCD 6 units to the x direction and negative 6 units in the y direction. What does that mean, Mrs. Rodriguez? Well, when it says in the x direction, we are simply going to move our shape either right to left. That's what it means. Right to left. Repeat. Right to left. So what does this mean? In the x direction. What does that mean, class? correct. We are going to move our shape right to left. Now, -6 units in the y direction. What's opposite from right to left? Good job. Up and down. We are gonna, when we talk about our y direction, we are gonna move our polygon up and down only. So we got those definitions correct. Our x-axis is right to left. Our y-axis means up and down, nothing else. Now, again, read to me as a class, guys. Read to me this example. Or read it in your head. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, last time I'm going to read it. Move square ABCD 6 units in the x direction and -6 units in the y direction. Our first step is to label our points on our square. So we have A, B, C, and D. Now, what we're going to do is circle our units that we have to move, 6 units and -6 units. So let's simply count our units. Let's go with point A. Let's move it 6 units. Let's do a star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units in the x direction. What do we say our x direction was? Right or left? In this case, we are going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, let's move our B. Here's our new point. This is A prime. Let's go to our B. 6 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is where it would land. B prime. But we're not done yet. We still have to move down. But let's go step by step first. Now we're going to move point C 6 directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is C prime. And then D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At D prime. So we moved this shape 6 units to the right. Now what do we have to do left? Is move it down. We have to move it to our y-axis. Excuse me. Now it's saying -6 units. What -6 means is to go down or to go left. But in this case, since we already went right, we are going to go down. So let's grab our A. Let's change colors. And let's go with green. -A. Let's move it -6 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is A. We could put double prime. Let's go B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. B prime. Let's go our C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C double prime. And D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. D prime. Are we done yet, class? No, all we've done so far is draw our points. Now we have to connect our points. A to B, B to D, D to C, and C to A. Let me make that a little bit thicker so y'all can see what